assignment, which is going to be handled by Sister Emmaline Cologne, and she's going to be assisted by Sister Beverly Mackey. Sister Cologne has, the theme is Abraham, obedience, unselfishness, and courage are qualities that please Jehovah. And this information is found on volume 1 of the Insight book on page 29, 4 through 7. And Sister Cologne has chosen as a setting number 18, explaining your belief to a non-witness relative. Sister Cologne.
Jessica, what's your Jessica? I always call your mother's name. Emmaline, what are you doing?
Hi, Grandma. I was just thinking about how I wanted to do my book report for school.
Oh, really? But what are you doing with the Bible?
Well, the book report is about qualities I admire in a historical person. There are so many cool characters in the Bible with qualities I think are amazing. I've made a list, but right now, I think I'll do Abraham.
But why Abraham? I know you love the Bible. And I know I think he had wasn't he the guy that they called God's friend?
Yeah, and he was because of the qualities that Jehovah saw in him.
What qualities?
Well, some of the qualities I wrote down are obedience, unselfishness, and courage. He showed these qualities in lots of ways.
How does he do that?
Well, the story about Abraham begins in Genesis chapter 12, and I actually have it right here. And it starts at the beginning of 12, and Jehovah tells Abraham at 75 to move his whole household to the land of Canaan, where he would have to live out the remaining years, 100 years of his life in tents, which meant leaving a big part of his family behind.
Well, I don't know, that's sure amazing at his age. But to have to keep living in tents? I don't know about that.
Yeah. Jehovah showed how much he loved it too. For that obedience and unselfishness, Jehovah made a wonderful promise.
You think, what did he make?
Well, why don't I read verses 2 and 3. I will make you a great nation, and I will bless you, and I will make your names great, and I will make you a blessing.
That sure is a promise, but I don't know about that. But I guess God can do anything.
Yeah, it was a great promise. And notice just in the first part of verse 4, you could read that.
Okay. So Abram went just as Jehovah had told him. Boy, he wouldn't do that in today's world.
So after Jehovah made this beautiful promise, I liked that Abraham listened.
He sure did. He showed that because he did just as Jehovah told him.
So obedient, right? Now, look at the cool thing Abraham did at Genesis 12:8. Later he moved from there to the mountainous region, 10, with Bethel on the west and Ai on the east. And there he built an altar to Jehovah and began to call on the name of Jehovah. And Abraham not only built an altar to Jehovah, but as he moved through the land, he built other altars along the way in the name of Jehovah, showing unselfishness. Don't you think?
Oh, I sure agree there. I could see building the first one, but he had to build one every time he moved.
Yeah. You see why I love him? As chapter 12 continues in the Bible, a severe famine came, and Abraham showed courage by moving again to Egypt. But to protect his life, he even had to pretend his wife Sarah was his sister. And as a result, Pharaoh tried to take beautiful Sarah as his wife. But Jehovah had Pharaoh give her back. about courage. Courage all over the place.
Oh, it sure must have been a frightening thing for him, but it sure was wonderful how you could see all these different attitudes and qualities in a story.
Well, that's why Jehovah put true stories of faithful and not so faithful people in the Bible, and so we see how to make him joyful and why it's the very best way of life.
Well, you convinced me of that, Em.